Good happy Tuesday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. And happy Election Day, everyone. Let's get started. Record numbers possible as New Hampshire voters turn out in droves. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
With a bank, you get security, dependability, and the latest technology. So what would be different if you switched to a local credit union to save on fees? Not much. You get a new card and more money to spend. To learn more, visit bettervaluesbetterbanking.com.
Good afternoon, Aaron. If you were with us this morning, you saw the line stretched out the door. Now it's a different situation. No waiting at all. But the moderator says things have been busy this morning. About half of the registered voters have cast their ballots so far. Although it wasn't without problems. Like another ward in Manchester, they did have problems with their voting machine.
We're not an early voting state.
However, across New Hampshire, voters were up early. Moderators reporting long lines and, in some cases, problems. At Ward 2 in Manchester, the ballot machine stopped working, forcing ballots to be placed in a cardboard box and voters questioning the procedure.
And we have to trust that you are going to put them in later and our vote will count.
By 9 o'clock in the morning, the machine was working and poll workers were feeding the ballots into it, eventually catching up. In Nashua, polls were also packed, which was great for Jamie Teague and her bake sale.
I got here at 5:45 to set up, and it was all the way out to the street. This is the shortest it's been today.
There were two issues on Eric Frederick's mind as he voted.
Immigration, taxation.
The economy and the direction of the country were issues important to George Brzezicki, but it wasn't just about the national races.
The local elections especially, you know, where we're at with our state reps and Senate rep.
And then there is civic duty.
It's such a privilege to be able to vote. You know, even if you don't like the candidates running, it's important to pick one at least and to cast a vote, because if you weren't able to do it, that'd be terrible.
Turnout could set a record today. The Secretary of State believes there are a number of factors driving that.
The role that we play at the beginning of the process, and we seem to always, in the end, potentially can be the decider.
As you take a live look at the polls once again here at Ward 1 in Manchester, make sure that when you do come out to vote, you have a photo ID with you, and you might want to allow for a little extra time as well. Although, as you can see, if you're voting in Ward 2 in Manchester, come on down, no waiting. Reporting live in Manchester, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Two joggers struck by car seriously injured in Bedford. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR.
And the latest technology. So what would be different if you switched to a local credit union to save on fees? Not much. You get a new card and more money to spend. To learn more, visit bettervaluesbetterbanking.com.
Neighbors say Pembroke Way in Bedford is a road that runners like. But police say two of them were struck by a car this morning while out for a jog around 7 a.m.
It is a very popular area for joggers throughout the day, not just in the morning. You'll see folks jogging. You'll see a lot of folks walking their dogs through the neighborhood.
Investigators say this car came over the hill from behind them. The chief says a preliminary investigation shows that frost on the windshield could have been a factor.
We're not certain as to whether or not that was a factor, but it is being investigated.
Police say the two joggers are currently at Elliott Hospital in Manchester fighting life-threatening injuries. Neighbors tell us an emergency room physician who lives near the accident site was able to assist the injured. Meanwhile, police are cautioning people to not rush out to drive.
We want to remind everyone, particularly at this time of season, that before you leave your driveway in the morning, make sure your windows are defrosted so that you can see clearly.
It is an accident that has shaken the neighborhood. There are normally two school bus stops on the street with pickups at 7:15, but because school was closed for Election Day, there were no children here.
I think it's going to be very difficult news. There's a lot of families that live here, and I think it will be very difficult and a little quiet for quite some time, actually.
Now, according to the neighbors, the runners were quite familiar to the area. They ran the same route at the same time every morning. Live in the newsroom, Nalko Fanama, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Five countries around the country to watch as early results come in. Number 1, Miami-Dade, Florida, 8 p.m. Number 2, Wake County, North Carolina, at 7:30 p.m. Number 3, Cobb County, GA, at 7 p.m. Franklin County, Ohio, at 7:30 p.m. Number 5, Wayne County, Michigan, at 9 p.m. And rural bonus, the Panhandle, at 8 p.m. Those are the counties and countries to watch for this evening's results. Stocks close higher as Wall Street awaits U.S. election results. Utilities led. U.S. qualities closed higher on Tuesday, led by utilities as investors urgently awaited the results of the U.S. presidential election. At least 295 civilians kidnapped by ISIS west of Mosul, UN says. ISIS has abducted nearly 300 people from Tel Afar, a city west of Mosul, as Iraq forces push to liberate the region from the terror group, the United Nations says. That does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your night. See you back here for my special later on tonight at 8 p.m.-ish. Good night, everyone. Bye.